Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, whatever time it is with you and wherever you are. Thank you for downloading this SmackDown review as part of the WWE podcast. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you listening along once again. I'm Amanda, your host of this SmackDown review. And a couple of notes on today's episode of the show. First of all, if you hear some background music, it's not in the house. It's our neighbours are having some kind of party. And also, if you happen to hear any helicopters, that's because I live quite near to Silverstone racetrack and it's Silverstone weekend, so we get loads of helicopters flying over. So apologies if there's any weird background noise on today's show. Before we get started, let's look back really quickly on the predictions for Night of Champions and see how we did. So, first one was the WWE Championship Triple Threat match. Cody versus Gunther versus Sami, and this one I called it right, reluctantly so. Sami is champion and I don't like it. Let's hope that it's a very short title run to SummerSlam at the longest. King of the Ring final, Jey Uso versus Oberfemi. Pleased to have been wrong on this one. I called Jey, but thankfully we got an Ober win, so hurrah. Queen of the Ring, we had Liv Morgan versus Io Sky, and again called this one, and we've got Io as Queen of the Ring, and she chose straight away to face Liv at SummerSlam. Got the US Championship, which is with Trick Williams versus Ricky Saints. As I said before, this was my don't really care match. We got a Trick retention, which I think was the right result. And then the Women's United States Championship was Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill. I said if you remembered, I said if Jade won, I would chuck something at the TV. Thankfully, the TV survived and we got a Tiffy retention, which was absolutely the right result in my opinion. Finally, we had the steel cage match, which was Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. And well, for me, this was the shock result. I had called Braun Breaker to win, but we actually got a Seth win. No Bronson Reed return either. So all in all, Night of Champions was okay. I would give it about a C. Let's get to it now and review the SmackDown that aired on 3rd of July. I believe that this was another pre-tape and the spoilers for it have been all over the place. First out tonight we got Sami, our new champion, and it's a very mixed reaction, certainly nothing like the reception and the reaction that he got following his win out in Saudi. First things first, happy 4th of July to me. The timer tracker on the bottom of Netflix says 1 hour 20 minutes, so it's happy days for me. Sami makes his way to the ring and he says it seems to him a lot of people here tonight came to ride or die with him. I have to say the boos were quite overwhelming at some points, to be honest. I'm not sure where he's hearing that or if he's got delusional ears. He says the whole thing is funny, as for the last 6 months he's been booed out of the building, and he says the people booing were the same people who were wanting him to be WWE champion once, but they gave up on him. And he says now he's got the title, he could be petty, he could tell the people who turned on him to kiss his ass, but he won't because he's a good guy. He says that's the reason he's holding the title, because he never changed despite people telling him he needed to change. He says he did it his way, and that's the right way. He says he could be petty again and tell the doubters to kiss his ass, but he won't, as this is a celebration. The crowd do not seem to be celebrating, to be honest, and there are some sporadic Sami chants, but it's minimal. He says tonight we're celebrating me as the new champion, and the end of the debate, as tonight he goes down in history as one of the greats. He's a WrestleMania main eventer, and now a Grand Slam champion. He says no amount of booing will ever take that from him, and we then get Cody out. Again, pretty quiet for a Cody reaction. I wonder if it's because I think this was a double taping. Maybe the crowd are hot and tired. Cody grabs the mic and Sami asks him what he wants to talk about. Cody says that he had forgotten that Sami was the first to congratulate him when he won, and he wanted to be the first out to the ring to congratulate him. Cody offers him a handshake, and the crowd don't seem to like that at all. Cody goes to leave and Sami stops him and says, let's not play this game. He tells Cody to drop the American Nightmare act and just be Cody. He says we both know that's not the reason he came out here. He says I have what was yours and you want it. He tells him to be honest, and tell him why you're really out here. Before we can get the answer, we get out Jey Uso, and we knew he was coming. We know he wants a title shot. He's been sent by the OTC. Yikes. Jey versus Sami, honestly, really no thanks. We get Jey and Sami off the bat doing their bro handshake, and Jey says that he's not running it back tonight. He tells Sami how proud he is of him and how he deserves it. He says, you know why I'm here, it's bloodline business, and this is your warning shot. He says he needs to bring the gold back to the family, and he is quite brilliantly interrupted by Cody, who says, the family, what year is this? Do we not know who we all are? Sami is champ. You've had gold. He says, when did you revert to being the OTC's errand boy, basically? Sami says that we're not doing this now. He says it's my time as long as I have this. You never will. Sami tells Jey the title still is in the family as far as he's concerned. And he says no one is touching this. He tells them both to stay away from him. We then get Adam Pearce out, who apparently is the new acting GM of SmackDown, and he says his first order of business is to find Sami an opponent. Sami says, don't I get to choose who I face at SummerSlam? And Adam says, who said anything about SummerSlam? You're defending this Monday on Raw, and the number one contender will be either Cody or Jey, whoever wins their fight later. Well, there's quite a lot there to unpack. So firstly, I would have to say on balance, Sami is not a popular choice by the sounds of things as the new champ. We end up tonight with a match between Cody and Jey to determine the number one contender. Which is a bit weird, as we have the title match happening over on Raw, but whatever. So, potentially, I guess that opens the door for the Bloodline to interfere and help Jey get the win, or to screw up Cody's win. Now, I don't mind that so much, as I think if Jey does take the title, he'll only have it till SummerSlam anyway. And Corey's right, seeing Cody walk to the ring minus the gold is weird and a little bit wrong. So it's all in all not a terrible opening segment. I'm intrigued to know what the oldest angle is. Rumour has it he'll be making a return to the ring to face, I guess, Gunther, which I actually don't hate at all. Oh, and we've just found out that Raw is in Chicago next week, which suggests maybe we might get a Punk return, and will he be put back into the title picture? I really, really hope so. Backstage now, we've got Kathy, who is with Flair. She asks her why she interfered in Jade's match of Night of Champions. Flair says Jade got what she deserved, she needed to be taught a lesson, and Flair will keep on teaching her that lesson till she gets it. We then get Bliss appear, who seems a bit grumpy. She tells Flair she didn't know she was going to be at Night of Champions. Flair tells her, you know I'm impulsive, and she wanted to get her own back on Jade because she injured Bliss and cost Flair her opportunity. Bliss says yeah, but she wished she had told her. Flair says that she had to watch her team with Tiffy, and at that we get Tiffy appear and says that she didn't need her help but thanks. We then get Chelsea, who gets an absolute monster pop, even though this is just a segment behind the scenes. She tells them all that Jade should be very worried about what's going to happen tonight. So it feels like we do have some beef brewing between Flair and Bliss, and the turn might finally be happening. And could it be Bliss that turns on Flair instead of the other way around? I know it's coming, it's been coming for ages, but I have really enjoyed these two together, so I don't mind if it takes another little while to come fully. So it looks like we've got now Tiffy and Chelsea deciding to be mates, and we've got a match coming up, and it's Flair with Tiffy and Chelsea versus Jade and the B-Card Army. Corey trying desperately to get the baddies moniker over, and Cole insists on calling them the Minions, which I am very here for, and I think is completely hilarious. This match kicks off with Tiffy looking great against Meechin. Cole says that Meechin is picking up a lot of Jade's traits. God, let's hope for her sake that's not true. The crowd are chanting for Chelsea, and she's not even been in the match yet. Flair and Tiffy pretty much out of it towards the end of the match here, as Chelsea is in, making a good account of herself. We do, though, get Jade hitting Jaded off the distraction, and Jade pins Chelsea for the win, which, I hate it. Why are we continuing to feed people to Jade? I can't bear this storyline, and the sooner it just ends, the better. Now we move to the altercation which we get to see on TV between Gunther and Nick. And basically here, Gunther is telling Nick off backstage. Gunther is pushing him, and finally Nick snaps and pushes him back, and apparently that's what happened, and that's why Nick is on administrative leave now that that's how come Adam Pearce is running SmackDown. We go backstage. We've got Sami approaching Adam, who tells him he doesn't appear on Raw. Adam tells him that he's given him a great opportunity in a great city. He says, maybe I'll invite some other SmackDown stars to Raw so it becomes a super show. Sami then notices Johnny, who is once again catatonic, and he goes over to him and brags, but he says he couldn't have done it without him. He's like his rock. He says it's proof he has to be true to himself, and he gets Candice to take a photo, and that's a bit weird. Where the hell is this angle going, if anywhere? Maybe Johnny's going to miraculously come back to life and take the title off Sami. That would be completely hilarious. Or even if Johnny just turns around and says, my God, will you just shut up? But I think it has got to be going somewhere, because this must have been on telly now for a good couple of months, it feels like. Next out, we've got Rey Fenix, who gets absolute crickets, and we've got a AAA title match versus Vikingo. Again, absolute crickets. The match was decent. I'm not sure the bog standard WWE crowd are that invested in AAA stuff yet. Not being rude, they're all super talented, but it's a different show, and I'm not sure we're bought into it yet. And we just don't know it. WWE do seem intent on nailing the crossover, so maybe given time it will happen, but for now it certainly doesn't feel like it is. We get a recap of Julia versus Kiana James from last week, and Blake Monroe's induction and debut, finally. Kathy has got Julia backstage. She asks her what her message is for Blake. Julia says she doesn't back down from any fight, and if she stops being a coward, she'll fight her. Julia that is interrupted by Kiana, who says it's just like her to bite the hand that feeds her. And with that, Julia is attacked by Blake Monroe, as is Kiana. She steps in to gloat, but also then gets beaten up by Blake Monroe as well. So it looks like we are continuing to use Blake Monroe sparingly, and that's fine. It adds mystery. She's clearly going to be getting into it with Kiana and Julia, which I think is quite interesting and a nice new angle. We get a recap of Seth and Roman from Raw. Basically, we get Seth telling Roman he wants the title shot and he's the front of the line. Seth basically lording it over Roman, telling him that he's the one person that he's never been able to beat, blah, 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 blah. So, ultimately, we've got Seth versus Roman at SummerSlam, and I swear to God, are we just running back everything that's happened over the last decade? What the hell is going on? Are WWE creative that bereft of ideas? Honestly, just no. We get Jimmy and Fatu backstage. We get Royce comes along, tells Fatu is he just doing the OTC's bidding. Jimmy says they're here to find Solo for the family. Keith said as far as he is concerned, he is family. He says it's loyalty, not blood, that makes family. Well, that's also all a bit weird. I did have a think. Do you guys think that maybe this is a real long, slow burn from Fatu? Do you think maybe we're going to get Fatu finally turn on the bloodline at some point soon? And maybe, just maybe, this has all been a pretty elaborate ploy to bring them all down once and for all. Imagine what an absolute hero that would make Fatu. And that, my friends, is what I have decided to hold on to. Next out, we get Trick and Little Yachty still chundering around after Trick Williams, and Trick's theme song, at least, still super over as everyone screams along to whoop that Trick. Before anyone can speak properly, we get out Mello. He gets a real good reception from the crowd, and he says to Trick, let's get to business. He says on Saturday, Ricky couldn't get the job done, so there's no other choice. The two of them are going to have to get to it for the title. He tells Trick, everything you do is great, you're unstoppable, That's only because I haven't decided to stop you yet, which is a brilliant line. He says you've turned the title into an accessory. He tells him the championship is the workhorse title and it's for guys who are hungry. He says, prove me wrong, put the title up against someone who knows you better than anyone. And he says basically he isn't buying into all of Trick's nonsense. I thought that was a really great promo from Mello. Yachty then asks Mello who he thinks he's talking to. He says this is the one and only Trick. He says since being called up he's been pure greatness. Debatable. Yachty asks the crowd if Mello should get a match, and the crowd seem quite up for that. And he says next week get yourself a match but not for the title. Trick tells Mello with all the history they have, they do know each other well, and Trick lays him out with a bit of a dirty blow, a bit of a slap. So we've got a non-title match next week. What will that lead to? As Trick walks away, we've got Mello dive out of the ring and attack him. I'd really like to see Mello with the gold again. There's far too many champs on TV at the moment, Liv Morgan, that don't defend at all. I think I read somewhere on Facebook or something like that Liv Morgan, as an example, has a title for almost 80 days and not made any title defences yet. So I don't know what the hell WWE are doing with her, but blowing it again by all accounts. We get a backstage bit with Danhausen, Jack Ryder, Miz and Kit. Danhausen says he will have a match against JD McDonough at Saturday night's main event at Madison Square Garden. Well, again, I'm just going to say that Danhausen isn't meant for me in this iteration of himself, and that's fine, but they are drawing a lot of talent into his crazy orbit anyway. Next out, we've got Brie Bella versus Lady Reed from Fatal Influence. We get all of Fatal Influence out with her, and then Brie has Paige with her, so I definitely smell shenanigans coming up here. This one kicks off with Brie on the attack early, but momentum soon shifts to Lady Reed. We get some sledging, a bit of banter between Paige and Fatal Influence, and then as we thought, we get our shenanigans as Fatal Influence try and interfere in the match, leaving Brie to get distracted and Lady Reed to take the win. This was a decent match. Fatal Influence remain super over as a heel team and I love them. The crowd though don't just seem to be up for anything tonight, so I say no judge on any talents. Obviously something in the water wherever this crowd were. I think, was it Atlanta? They're just not up for it, which is too bad for the talent. I mean, the show has had some pretty big stars on tonight and nothing is getting them up. We've had Cody, we've got Jey, you've got legends that are Brie and Paige, you've got Fatal Influence, you've got the only person really they've been up for is Chelsea Green, which is good for Chelsea. We get a backstage eating competition, we say, between Truth and Nathan Fraser, which is weird. Truth wins and says, once again, the USA have beaten England. Sigh. On a side note, I don't know if you guys have probably seen there's something on social media this week with some American lady saying that in England we're not allowed to put flags up. I can assure you it's not true. We are absolutely allowed to put flags up wherever we want, and we have a lot of them. Anyway, I'm not sure what Truth is alluding to there. Maybe it's like an Independence Day thing. Anyway, we get the Viking Raiders who ask about their offer from last week. Truth agrees to the match, not sure when as Aldous isn't here, but Priest says that it will be on SmackDown. So it looks like that's happening. I'm not sure if that will be like a unification match or whether that's just going to be, it will just be two sets of titles. I can imagine they'll keep them as separate titles as they probably want to make sure that they still have tag team action over on AAA. We then get a look back of the situation between Femi and Brock. Femi randomly not taking his title shot at SummerSlam in favour of facing Brock. I call some BS on that. I mean, if I was Femi, I would definitely take the title shot at SummerSlam and Brock can wait, not the other way around. I'm not sure what the point is of that. Anyway, we go backstage, we have Cody, and he's with Finn Balor. He says the main reason he came to SmackDown was to face Cody for the title. so he tells him to go out there and get it back. We then get Tama and Tala beating down on Finn, telling him that they are closing the books on everything from the past and he is next. Now, I wouldn't mind at all having a face Finn versus Cody for the title at some point, so that I think is really cool, and that is bringing, although Finn's obviously held the title before, as we know, it came to a premature end because of an injury, and since then he's never really got any sort of significant gold back. He obviously has held tag gold with the Judgment Day, but I would love to see Finn versus Cody for the title at some point. And if in the meantime we get Finn on the TV with this feud from his past, then I think that's cool too. Next up, the main event, which is the number one contenders match for the title defense on Raw. This is Cody versus Jey Uso. This should be a decent enough match. These guys know each other so well. I would obviously like to see a Cody win, but fear we may get a Jey win. Let's see. And it's a pretty good match. Lasted only about 9 minutes, which seems quite short and sweet. Ends up with Cody hitting a double crossroads on Jey, and thankfully he takes the win. So we're going to get Sami versus Cody on Monday at Night Raw. Now, will that be a straightforward match? No, I don't think so. I feel pretty sure we will get a Punk return. Seems pretty nicely set up for him to insert himself into the picture, and at least we know that CM Punk in Chicago will definitely get the crowd up, and the Chicago crowd are always, one of the top crowd reaction cities. So I think Monday Night Raw will be a really good show. So that all seems quite nicely set up for him. I don't know if he's going to return or not, but we're definitely going to get some shenanigans and a possible triple threat match at SummerSlam for the title, and hopefully a Punk win there. Okay, yes, I am getting it more than a few steps ahead of myself, but that would be a great match as far as I'm concerned, but let's see. The other option, obviously, is that because we're over on Raw, we get some kind of bloodline involvement. So will that be Roman Reigns? Will it be Jimmy? Will it be Fatu? Did they ever find Solo? Is Solo coming back to the bloodline? What is going on there? So actually, there is a million different options for what should be relatively straightforward Sami versus Cody match for the title. And then I don't know if you guys saw on social media this week, we definitely did see Kevin Owens backstage at an event. Don't know where it was, but he was with Becky Lynch, and he was just congratulating Sami. And of course, he could have just gone out been congratulating his best friend Sami on his success, but we have been hearing his name a lot more, and we have now actually seen him, and I certainly haven't seen anything of him in the last months, year possibly. So are we getting a Kevin Owens return, and is he going to be Sami's wingman? I mean, that would be pretty awesome as well. So actually, for the first time in quite a long time, looking forward to seeing Raw on Monday to see what might happen, who might return, Punk, KO, what's going to happen with the bloodline. Millions of different options there. So that's actually lining itself up to be a pretty good show. As for SmackDown tonight, not bad. Didn't feel like there was a bunch of wrestling on the wrestling show, and as I said, the timer on the bottom of Netflix was 1 hour 20 minutes. So when you include all the recaps from Raw, I think we got 3 separate Raw recaps, which felt very much like the old days. Plenty of promos, plenty of silly bits, like the Priest Truth bit and the Danhausen bit. When you extrapolate that out, the actual amount of time wrestling, we didn't get a lot of wrestling on the wrestling show, but, these things tend to ebb and flow. So as I said, yeah, decent enough. Again, the crowd were very quiet, but I guess that's just the way it is sometimes. As I said, a bit weird with the title going over to Raw. I wonder, there's more behind it. I fear it's going to be some kind of bloodline angle. As I said, we do seem to be rolling everything back to the absolute extreme at the moment. That being said, I do enjoy what they're doing at the moment with Julia and Kiana, and obviously Chelsea is super, super over, and I do wonder what they're going to do with Flair and Bliss. So on the women's side, it's actually not too bad. Okay guys, that just about does it for this week's show. Thanks for having me in your ears once again, and remember, until next time, be kind.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.